we've got your Raiders covered.
Knock on wood if you're with me.
It's Silver and Black Today on CBS Sports Radio 1140. And now, here's your host, Scott Gobranson.
Welcome back to the Silver and Black Today here on CBS Sports Radio 1140 in Las Vegas. It might be the off season, but our season rolls on. We appreciate you being with us. As always, we are here every Sunday. That's right, every Sunday, 8 to 10 a.m. You can count on us. You can also watch us. We are live streaming on video, YouTube, Periscope, and Facebook, as well as Twitch. So if you're out there and you want to watch us in those channels, you can do that. So make sure you do it. Always lively discussion, especially on our YouTube channel. So I invite you to go there, subscribe to our YouTube channel, hit the notifications bell so you don't miss anything as well. And as always, I do not do this alone. I do this with two co-hosts. And I introduce you to them now. One, Mr. Kelly Kreiner. Kelly, how you doing today, buddy?
Excellent as always. How you guys doing?
Yeah.
Good, man. I know you got a little bit of a headache today.
That's an understatement. I had to drive here with one eye closed.
That's not good for any of us. But Kelly, thanks for being here as always.
That's basically how the rest of the Las Vegas drives. So.
No kidding. And that's,
stay off the sidewalks, man.
There's always truth to that. And
I saw something on Twitter where somebody said that the DMV was only giving drivers or the Raiders license plates to people who have at least 3 moving violations or are 1 point away from losing their license.
Nice.
And I'm like, that's everybody in the state.
Well, how about they took out the parallel parking from the test?
Well,
test.
When's the last time you've parallel parked? I've never parallel parked in Las Vegas.
That's true. Everywhere you go has valet.
You never go downtown and had the parallel park? No, I guess they took it away now. They kind of diagonal. Since they went paid to park in downtown Las Vegas, it's all kind of changed.
That's the thing. You don't parallel park in a parking garage.
Yeah.
And that's basically everywhere you park in this town.
Right.
I got Smart Pack.
Oh, boy. Now he's doing free commercials. All right, we have a full show today and want to talk through some of what we're going to do today. First, we'll talk a little bit about Allegiant Stadium. We got an update on the stadium, which
Chaz is here too. Don't forget.
I did. I introduced him. He talked. I tried to introduce him and then he just talked, so I can't introduce him.
Smart Pack.
There he is. You can't miss Chaz. He's always going to be in the conversation. All right. So Allegiant Stadium, we had a big update this week with that, and so we're going to talk about that. The roof is up. I'm not going to say on fire because we don't want that to happen. So we'll talk about that. We'll also talk about jobs to the Las Vegas community, which is also part of that. We'll also spend a majority of the first hour. It is Black History Month, after all. We're going to talk about the commitment of the Raiders and Al Davis to diversity in his organization. Al didn't care who he hired as long as it was the right person and the best person for the job. And so we'll talk a little bit about that as well. And we'll talk about also, where is the NFL when it comes to diversity these days? The conversation is a common one. And I think sometimes it's categorized in a way that isn't necessarily fair to all groups. So we'll talk a little bit about that as well. Really open, honest conversation. Want to have you call in too and have you tell us what you think about all of that. Call us at 702-733-5968. That's 702-733-5968 if you want to be a part of the conversation as well. Then the second hour, I should say, we're going to have Jesse Reed from Sportsnaut. Jesse wrote a piece on 6 players that will blow up, i.e. have a good combine. We're going to talk to him about that as well. We'll continue to talk about Tom Brady, even though some of you rather have needles stuck in your eyes. It's still a very real conversation. Another report, this time by Mike Florio at NBC Sports Football Talk, or Pro Football Talk.
PFF.
PFF. No, not PFF.
Oh.
PFS.
Pro Football Focus.
Pro Football
All right, but
Talk
anyway,
is
he reported the Raiders are prepared to offer Tom Brady a 2-year, $60 million deal, and so we'll talk about that a little bit. We'll also have Kelly's Corner, and we'll close up the show with whatever odds and ends we have left. So, guys, look at the stadium now, and if you're in Las Vegas, because you can see it every day, and you see the progress that's occurring and what's happening. But I want to read you guys a big milestone was reached. And if you go to silverandblacktoday.com, our website, our news website, you will see the lead story. Allegiant Stadium roof reaches big milestone. So Mortensen McCarthy, the construction group, the combined construction group building the stadium, reported on Friday at 4:30 that the big lift, this was the cables, this is the issues that they had with these bolts breaking trying to get into the ring at the top of the stadium. Those have been fixed, and it is complete. So the cables that will support the roof are now complete, and now they will start the process of putting the TFE, which is basically just, I'm going to simplify everybody. It's a plastic. It's a polymer. They're going to put this, it's a 7-acre size roof, just to put it in perspective. Wow. They're going to put that up by March, or starting in March, and they should be finished by May, which is what they said earlier in the thing. Now, this kills some I think, conspiracy theories and some people who thought that the roof was going to continue to have trouble. Now, it's not done by any means. They got to put up all that stuff, 7 acres of polymer plastic. But still, guys, this is a big deal because with that done, they can start to cover it. It'll start to protect the stadium from the elements should we have rain and so on.
What elements? It's Las Vegas.
Well, we get rain and stuff and wind. You know, I mean, when it allows them to put things like the club seats that are going to be all padded and nice and all that stuff. Right. They can start to put those in once they start to cover the roof. And it also keeps birds out. If you saw our tour video up on our YouTube channel, you'll see there are pigeons flying around inside there because it's open. But a big milestone nonetheless.
Yeah. Well, I think the weather is the 110 degrees in the first few home games, right? That'd be the biggest problem.
Well, yeah, but in construction process wise, we do have during the summer now last year was very easy. We had a very easy season, but we have monsoonal moisture.
July,
right.
Yeah.
Right, so it gets wet. We have these little flash storms, and keeping that rain out, Kelly, will help.
Okay.
Yeah, but the stadium looks great. What did I hear something that they're gonna have a soccer game to open the stadium? Is that the news?
That's the rumor coming out that could be the first possible thing they have there, which would be big because that rivalry's huge.
Right.
But then there's also, I heard something about the stadium wasn't configured to the point to where you could have like a World Cup or anything in there. So people are saying that wouldn't happen. It's but this is more like a friendly than anything. Yeah. It's a cash grab, and that's what this town's known for.
No, but those friendlies are fun. I went to one over at Levi Stadium. It's a good time. Everybody just goes. It's like going to a baseball game. You have a couple beers, sitting around watching them, having a good time.
Well, no, it's not like going to a baseball game because people actually go to soccer matches.
And they don't cheat in soccer.
Well, actually...
More to
come on that. More to come.
I don't know about that.
We got something.
But I will tell you that the soccer match, actually, it's not true that they don't have it configured for World Cup because I have actually the architectural plans. We reported on it last year that shows the setup.
Well, no, but since they added the new club section was what I heard that they actually had to cut down on the seating on that. Like I said, that's just what I heard.
Yeah, and for a World Cup bid, who knows? They will figure something out. But from a soccer perspective, from preseason soccer, but I think you're right. I think it would be huge for the stadium because that sport appeals to so many people. It's the biggest sport in the world.
Right.
So to have that hosted here in Las Vegas, also for all the talk about why are we building this stadium for 10 games a year? Well, no, there's a lot of other big events like soccer, like these big international matches that you could sell 65,000 seats for easily, being as close as we are to Los Angeles and Phoenix and the Bay Area. So it's great news. The other news was economic as well, and that was the Community Benefits Oversight Committee for the Las Vegas Stadium Authority says that 1,500 jobs will be created once the 65,000-seat stadium is open in July. We've had Peter Guzman on, who's a member of that committee and the president of the Latin Chamber of Commerce here. But and he told us, quote, when you talk in terms of contracts, jobs, and employees, you're really talking about a huge economic development for our community. That's Peter Guzman of the CBOC acronyms.
Yeah.
Acronyms. But that's a big deal because, these jobs, 1,500 of them, yes, they're event-driven jobs. They're not 40 hours a week. They will hire 80 to 85 people that will be permanently housed in the stadium and doing day-to-day work on the stadium as well. But you can check this story up on silverandblacktoday.com as well. But, guys, jobs, this is what you build a stadium for. Yes, you get the NFL here, but these jobs, and people were commenting again all week when I tweeted out the story saying, hey, oh, big deal. Oh, man, now I'll have to cancel my retirement, because geez, this is going to be such a great job or whatever. And the reality is it's not just 10 events. It's the soccer matches, it's the concerts, it's the
UNLV playing there.
Yes. And so they'll need about 8 people for that, but no, they're gonna be UNLV's. I like Coach Arroyo. I think they're gonna come on strong. But nonetheless, I think that and political conventions itself, World of Concrete might move some stuff there. So I think from that perspective, you have a lot of opportunity economically and jobs that people don't think about. So it's really a boon for our community all the way around.
Right. And you mentioned 1,500 jobs. Tell those 1,500 people who actually have a little more money in their pocket now.
Right.
It's a bad idea.
No, that's exactly right. That's exactly right.
I'm not going to work there.
That's
but
what I'm
you know
wondering.
what? But a lot of people are.
Yeah. Who's on your Twitter feed that's always giving you flack about all these things, man?
Well, yeah, we have to get Chaz on Twitter more
It's
often.
mostly the YouTube people.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, YouTube. Yeah, we get a lot of comments on YouTube, and I know the crew who watches the show live is there now today, and we'll get to them in a few minutes.
And I just want to say that wasn't a knock on the YouTube. Just like more of the comments come from YouTube. You said Twitter.
Yeah.
Twitter's just all dumb hatred.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Try to stay away from all of it.
Well, yes, but
you're better off.
Yep.
But we will definitely see the economic impact of the stadium. All of those surveys that talk about how stadiums don't increase economic development in an area, some of them are dated, some of them don't consider some of the factors we have here in Las Vegas, being a destination city. So it'll be interesting to follow.
Well, not only that, but we're also, it's destination, convention.
Mm-hmm.
It's like Las Vegas is a different animal than any other city on the planet. Let's realize what it is.
Right.
That's what I keep telling people.
And that's I know MetLife Stadium had the most concerts or something at 8 or 10, and everyone's like, oh, it's only 10 events. That's cool, but we could do 10 concerts in Las Vegas in 3 weeks.
Yeah.
Yes, we could.
And because like I said,
but right now we're going to do a commercial.
Ah.
Hey, all right. When we come back, we're going to talk about Al Davis, diversity, and the Raiders, and what he was able to do early on, and what some NFL owners today could maybe take a cue from him. You're listening to the Silver and Black Today here on CBS Sports Radio, 1140.
The Great American Race, Daytona 500, this morning at 10:30 on CBS Sports Radio, 1140.
This is Mark Bedane, president of the Raiders. You're listening to Silver and Black Today.
Indeed you are. Welcome back to the Silver and Black Today here on CBS Sports Radio, 1140 in Las Vegas, and we welcome you. Make sure you check out our website. That is, of course, silverandblacktoday.com. Latest in news and views from Las Vegas about the Raiders. We're the only ones in Las Vegas. So, hey, so far, I'm sure there will be more. But nonetheless, for now, we are. So what we wanted to do today, of course, it is February is Black History Month, and we wanted to, because it's such a rich history with the Raiders and diversity in the way Al Davis ran his team, we wanted to really talk about that and talk about what the Raiders have meant to that in the NFL and diversity and bringing along kind of an outdated mindset. If you go back to the 60s and 70s, there were very few, for example, black offensive linemen. There were no black quarterbacks. And then Al Davis started scouting historically black colleges and universities. He went out, of course, Gene Upshaw and Art Shell, all these guys who he went out and drafted. And, of course, Eldridge Dickey, the first black quarterback to be taken in the first round of the NFL draft. Guys, I mean, when we think about Al Davis and we think about what he was able to do, it was pretty simple, because I think that where Al deserves the most credit is he didn't look at somebody and say, I'm going to go get the best black player I get. He said, I'm going to go get the best player. I don't care if he's Hispanic, i.e. Tom Flores, the first quarterback in Raiders history. I don't care if he's African American. I don't care what he is. If he helps me win, that's what I care about. And that's how we should be, because that is basically colorblind.
Right.
Right?
But no, Al was really strong in his beliefs. He, he was a leader in racial equality. He, you can't write the history of the NFL without including Al Davis. He was just forward in his thinking. And, like you said, you mentioned the first black quarterback taken in the first round, and Art Shell being the first head coach, and even Kelly was talking when they asked Art Shell after his first, how does it feel to be the first minority, and he said, well, see that guy over there, Tom Flores, he was actually the first minority. So you've just got all those things that Al Davis, and I don't know if he really was colorblind, but they always joke that he was colorblind.
Yeah, actually physically colorblind.
Right, because the fact that he didn't care, he just wanted to win, and that was his mentality.
Yeah, it's like you talk about the Art Shell thing. Like Flores was a decade before him,
right?
So they're making this out to be this great thing that Art Shell's a minority. It was a decade before. Al basically did it twice, and he did it a decade before himself, according to the NFL.
Right?
Yeah,
I mean, that's just how long that went back. It's like when Upshaw got in the league, he made the joke that all the black offensive linemen could hold a convention in a phone booth.
Right.
Yeah,
that's
exactly.
That's how few there were.
Yep.
And Al flat out said, nobody's looking at these historic black colleges for talent. He goes, we're looting these places because nobody looks at them. He goes, we're getting talent.
Yep.
Al just wanted talent. Like I said, didn't care where it came from, who it was. Give me talent. I can work with that.
He was ahead of the curve on that deal. And, having the first female chief executive, too, I know that a little different, but that's another big story.
You jumped ahead on me.
Oh, gotcha.
We were getting there, though, but no, I agree. But that's the point, Chaz. You hit it right on the head, bringing up, of course, Amy Trask, which is the point that when you're looking at your business, I don't care what business you're in, whether it's the business of professional football, whether it's the radio business, whether it is you have a towing company, whether you have a restaurant, it doesn't matter, right? You should be striving to get the people who can work for your business,
the best people in the best position,
who can give you the best position to be successful, and then also give people an opportunity as well. Look for talent, look for what you see in them, and then give them the platform, and then let them be themselves. That's the other thing I'll say. The Raiders get a bad rap because of the Lyle Alzaados, the John Matuzaks, and thing, who were given second chances. But Al always said, right? He always said, look, it's my job to let people be who they should be. I don't have to force upon them who I want them to be. If I let them be who they are, recognize their talent, give them the opportunity to succeed, then they will. Now, some of those fell through, right? We saw it here in Las Vegas with UNLV. Jerry Tarkanian gave guys chances, and sometimes he made mistakes on that, and they didn't come through. But I think with Al, when you look at diversity and allowing people, you look at the front office of the Raiders, very diverse. You look at their PR staff, same thing. It's always been that way. It hasn't changed. And to me, that it becomes part of your DNA. Now, not every franchise is that way, right, Kelly? That you don't have that built in. You don't have the history like you do with the Raiders.
No, and you mentioned giving people second chances. It just seems like the Raiders are the only team that gets killed for that.
Right.
Because, you look all across the NFL, there's a lot of just really horrible people that have been in this league that have got multiple chances.
Right.
It's like Lawrence Phillips played for multiple NFL teams.
Yes.
Let's be honest, not the best dude.
Right.
I'm totally blank on the Carolina. Greg Hardy. Greg Hardy got multiple chances. Nobody's killing the Cowboys for giving him that chance.
Right.
It's just that stigma just sticks with the Raiders just because of the way they were back in the day.
Right.
Rule number 1 was cheat. Rule number 2 was see rule number 1.
Yeah.
Yeah, they kind of created that on their own, and that's why it's just kind of stuck with them. And that's what we talk about now with the penalties and the officiating and all that. The Raiders kind of created that mystique, and now it's kind of backfired on them. It worked for them before. They would come in, the game, half of the battle was already done because the other team was so worried about these big bullies coming to town. The mental part of the game was already done, but now it's kind of backfiring on them, with the rest of how everything's come around, and they seem to be the scapegoat for every kind of situation.
Well, and to me, though, when we talk about this issue, coming out of the tumultuous times that were the 1960s and what Al Davis was doing, you had players throughout the NFL who wanted to play for Al Davis, especially African-American players who felt like he understood what they were, what they could be, and he wanted to allow them. So the opportunity was there, and to me that made everything different. And then, of course, as Chaz mentioned earlier, not only did he do this, was he colorblind, but he didn't care about gender. He didn't care about anything else. So Amy Trask becomes the CEO of the Raiders, the first woman executive. Now we've seen over the last couple of years the first woman coach. We saw the one, and I forget her name now, with the 49ers, first woman in the Super Bowl. All these things have happened, and frankly, they've happened very slowly in the NFL and some other sports. But Al Davis adopted it early and embraced it earlier, And to me, that he brought the NFL along. The NFL did not, and still is not, I don't think, of the mindset that Al Davis was. I think he was ahead of that. I think they're trying to do better at it. But if they just adopted, hey, hire the best person and move forward. Now, that's the other thing. We're going to talk about it in the next segment as we talk more about today. But when you look at Al Davis's legacy with diversity, and we start with Tom Flores, too, because not only did he take Tom and make him the quarterback of the Raiders, but then a coach who won 3 Super Bowls with them. But the fact is that Tom Flores was a just an amazing pioneer in the world of professional football, being the first Hispanic. He's still not in the Hall of Fame. We're not going to rehash that because we all know it's a travesty. Yep. But to me, what happens if Al Davis doesn't come along, guys? What happens if we're still in that mindset where it's kind of a closed club? You wouldn't have as good a football as you have now.
Yeah, maybe not. I mean, you figure they've got to catch up eventually, but he definitely set a couple of feet forward. He
jump-started it, right? I mean, that's where I look at it. And if you look at, I mean, when he passed away, I got some articles in front of me here. But when you look at, it was one of the first things mentioned to all folks when he passed away, because you talked about Art Shell, you talked about naming him the first black head coach in the history of the NFL, and Art not only said he wasn't the first minority, but Al Davis told him, he said, listen, I'm not hiring you because you're going to be the first black coach. I'm hiring you because I believe you to be the best candidate for the job.
That's right.
And I think that's where today we see a lot of discussion around openings. This year we saw it, and again, we're going to talk about it after the bottom of the hour. Eric Bieniemy, right, with the Chiefs, goes to the Super Bowl, and it's like, why does he not have a head coaching job? He hasn't interviewed. Right. We're going to talk. There are good reasons for it, and we'll talk about that. And then there are also some question marks around when do opportunities present themselves and what is fair, because we can't. Nobody can tell me what is fair, right? Nobody can tell me what the system should be. They have the Rooney Rule, okay? I don't know. I have to look back. I don't know what Al thought of the Rooney Rule, or kind of the gist of the Rooney Rule. I think he would have probably laughed at it to say, just hire the best person.
Right.
If the best person's black, if the best person is Hispanic, if the best person is Asian, American, Pacific Islander, hire him. Who cares?
I can tell you what fair is. Fair is where you judge a pig. There's no such thing as fair.
Yeah.
Life's not fair. Nothing's fair. So let's just throw that out altogether.
Yep.
Right. But that's the thing, is opportunity. So if you want people to have opportunity, then you give them the platform. I would think, you look at the statistics, for example, the NFL itself is the largest creator of African-American wealth in the history of our country. And so you look at numbers like that and you say, oh, that's great. But then you look at the numbers of African-American candidates. Then you look at the numbers of Hispanic candidates. Are there that many? We see Ron Rivera. We see others. And so to me, the fact that Al was ahead of that, part of it was about winning. Some people don't like to give him credit for it because of that. They say, well, it wasn't so much that he was trying to make a statement. It was just he wanted to win. And to that I said, yeah, exactly. Yeah. Because you shouldn't look at it through those lenses. Just like you shouldn't look at your neighbor and say, well, oh, that's my Hispanic neighbor. No, it's your neighbor. It doesn't matter. You go with the best people. You take people for who they are, the talent they have, and that's what he was able to do.
I understand what they're trying to do with the Rooney Rule, but it's tough. Coaching is tough. I've seen a lot of coaches go through that carousel, and it's a really hard job to do. I got to meet Hugh Jackson at the Laker game. I got to talk to him, for 10, 15 minutes. Great guy, had nothing but great things to say about Al Davis. He was just, such an emotional, such a passionate guy. He was so thankful for what Al Davis. You saw how emotional he was after Al Davis passed in that Houston Texans game when they won the game in the final play. But here's the thing, Hugh Jackson, for all the great, what a great person he was. Maybe not the best coach. We've seen that in the last few years. What did he go, 3-30 or whatever it was?
You gave him extra wins.
Yeah,
he won one game in 2 years.
Right. So it's a really tough job to do, and I don't know if it's just the diversity thing just out the window. Just trying to be a head coach, period, is tough enough. Finding the right person to do it, it's a needle in a haystack.
Well, yeah, and it also brings up the discussion of, you could allow people to your point, Chaz, will give people opportunity. If they fail, they fail. If they succeed, they succeed. But if you never get the opportunity, how do you know?
Right.
Sports today, the shelf life of a coach is so short, it's pretty crazy. All right, we're going to step aside when we come back. We'll continue the discussion, and we're going to talk about the Rooney. We're going to talk about diversity and minority hiring, all this sort of stuff, because I think it's dang confusing. I don't understand quite what the NFL's doing, but we're going to talk about it. You're listening to the Silver and Black today here on CBS Sports Radio, 1140.
The only way to take Silver and Black today with you is with a radio.com app. Download it today and search CBS Sports Radio 1140 in Las Vegas and listen to us anytime, anywhere.
All right, welcome back to the Silver and Black today here on CBS Sports Radio 1140. It is Black History Month. We're talking about the history of diversity with the Raiders and the incredible record they had. Now, coming into the current era, guys, there was a little bit of a wrinkle in that when the team hired John Gruden, there was talk that, well, geez, the Raiders themselves, with all this record of diversity and all the history of Al Davis and how he and his hiring practices, suddenly went out and hired John Gruden and didn't give a minority coach an opportunity under the Rooney Rule. Of course, the Rooney Rule was established to ensure or to mandate, right? It's a mandate that NFL teams give the opportunity for minority candidates to interview for the job. Doesn't mean you have to hire them, but you have to interview them. So the Raiders did bring in someone, they interviewed them, and then the conversation was, well, geez, they're just doing it. They didn't really have any intention of interviewing him for a possibility of getting the job, right? Which tells you why mandating things like that don't necessarily work or have their original intended goal in mind.
Well, Al kind of just did things his own way anyway, and I'm sure in the back of his mind he thought he's already done that multiple times. He's the outlier that doesn't need to do it.
The same thing came up years ago with Mariucci and the Detroit Lions. Everybody knew Mariucci was going to be the coach. They interviewed him. They're just doing that because they have to. But
Right.
you're saying they have to when there's nobody on the planet that was going to be the coach besides Steve Mariucci for the Detroit Lions that year.
Right.
He was the perfect fit for what they were looking for. Local guy. I mean, it's like.
But they still have to go through the motions.
Yeah, you're making them go through the motions. That's what makes that gesture meaningless. You're forcing somebody to do something they normally wouldn't do.
Right.
So, of course, it's going to be meaningless.
Well, and yes, you're exactly right. And to me, and I want to hear your guys' opinions. You want to call us 702-733-5968 is the number, 702-733-5968. We're also getting chat in the different social media channels up on Facebook and YouTube right now. The Periscope is having issues. The Periscope. The platform's having issues, so we can't go there live right now. But anyway, the question, though, guys, is so you have this situation in the NFL where we hear from a lot of people, a lot of prognosticators who say the NFL's not doing enough. Every time we just had a slew of coaching hires, one of which was Ron Rivera. Okay, so he's a Hispanic coach.
That's not a minority to the NFL.
Well, that's a good point. You mentioned this during the break. Tell me what you mean, Kelly.
Well, no, it's like the whole Art Shell thing. They were asking him, like, how do you feel to be the first minority head coach in the NFL? And he's looking over, he's like, yeah, Tom Flores was a coach a decade ago. Tom Flores is Hispanic, which could be considered a minority to everybody else except but the NFL. And I don't want to come off callous when I say this, but when the NFL says minority, it's just black in their opinion. For the most part, because that's what they can't just come out and say they want more black head coaches, but that's kind of what the Rooney Rule was set up for.
Yeah, well, and that's the thing to me is you do. I mean, and 68% of the league is African American. Okay, so you understand that the majority of the league is African American. That's fine. But the issues of American Pacific Islanders, Asian Pacific Islanders, there's a lot in the league. Also, Hispanics, smaller number, and then, of course, there's white players in the league, too. So, to me, if you look at the coaching situation today, right, you have 4 minority coaches. You have Anthony Lynn in Los Angeles, you have Flores in Miami, you have Tomlin in Pittsburgh, and you have Rivera in Carolina. That's 4. That's roughly 13%.
Well,
what's that?
Rivera's not in Carolina anymore.
I'm sorry. Rivera is in Washington. Yeah. Thank you.
Did you see his yard sale he had at his house?
No. Was it pretty nice?
No.
I'm sure he had some good stuff.
He had a yard sale that raised $30,000 for the Carolina Lake animal shelter or something.
Oh, wow.
And he was just basically selling all his Carolina Panther stuff.
Oh, my God, that's funny. So, but the point is, I mean, you look at that. So out of 32 teams, there are 4 minority head coaches. Let's talk about this year, guys, because as I mentioned earlier, the Eric Bieniemy thing was a hot thing this year when the coaching hirings were happening right after the season ended, and we had our firings and Black Monday, all that stuff. Eric Bieniemy though was there. He's now rumored to maybe be going back to his alma mater, the University of Colorado, which I think would be a good step because you haven't been a head coach yet. So I think that sometimes is lost on people. But at the same time, you guys, we talked about this during the break. Eric Bieniemy had another reason that made it difficult for him to be a coach and had nothing to do with his color.
Right.
Yeah, he's kind of preparing for a Super Bowl.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of hard to jet set go everywhere when you're trying to do interviews when you have a Super Bowl to prepare for.
Right.
And if I'm Eric Bieniemy, there's no way I'm taking that Colorado job. That'll destroy his career in a heartbeat. No, seriously, he has a way. If he wants to be in the NFL, going from coordinator to coach is a way better option than going back to Colorado, trying to build a mediocre program up to the point to where he could be an NFL coach.
Right.
If I'm people that like the Rooney Rule and everything, I want Bieniemy to stay in the NFL as a coordinator. I don't want him to go back to Colorado.
Yeah. But Chaz, I mean, what do you do with this situation, right? You worked in the NBA for a long time. When you look at the coaching openings, you worked with ownership. Like, you're an owner of a team.
Right.
You want to go get your person. If that person's white, black, Hispanic, doesn't matter, right? Yep. So how do you – I think this is why the Rooney Rule, while it has great intent, it's never going to work.
It does. And you appreciate it, and it's crossed over into the business sector, and it's to Kelly's point, you can't tell billionaires what to do. They're just going to do the opposite. But I feel like for every closed door, it probably has opened some doors in other places. So, in effect, it does work. As far as my experience in the front office, these guys, they knew who they wanted. They knew who they wanted to go after. They knew the players, and they knew what fit. And like the same thing you were talking with Mariucci, he was a perfect fit for what they had and what they wanted to do. And that's usually, from my experience, that's the owner's thinking is, we want to go out and get the best person. And I feel like, my time, they were colorblind. They went after whoever. It didn't matter.
Right.
But across the board, every person, every situation is different. And, you hope they want to do the right thing and find the right person for what they're trying to accomplish.
But then again, Kelly, we talk about, since you're our resident college football guru too, when you talk about like a Matt Rule to Carolina, right? Matt Rule versus an Eric Bieniemy. Now, I don't know that Eric Bieniemy even talked to Carolina. I'm just saying, if I'm a team owner, why would I go with a Matt Rule coming out of Baylor? A hot commodity. He did a great job there, but it was college, versus Eric Bieniemy, who's running a Super Bowl offense.
Mm-hmm.
Is Eric Bieniemy running a Super Bowl offense, or is Andy Reid showing Eric Bieniemy how to run? The biggest knock against Eric Bieniemy is Andy Reid, and not that Andy Reid's doing it. I mean, it's just everybody's always going to look at any Andy Reid-led team as Andy Reid. Nobody cares about his offensive coordinator because Andy Reid's calling plays more than anything. And I'll tell you what, Carolina made a great hire with Matt Rule because he turned Temple around, turned Baylor around.
Right.
You know what 2 football teams aren't football schools? Temple and Baylor.
Right. Well, and to me,
I was saying,
go ahead.
Matt Rule would have been the Jets coach, but they wouldn't let him do his assistants.
Yeah. Well, but that's the thing too. So then you're telling me that it in your view, hiring a college head coach who has a record of winning, whether it's turning programs around or not, situations are different. I understand that. Is more preferable over a candidate who is a coordinator with a big-time head coach who's known for winning?
No, I'm saying in this circumstance, Matt Rule is going to be a better head coach than more than half of the NFL. He's the outlier in this situation.
Okay.
College to pro you don't see that translate a lot because it's a completely different thing. College, you get to pick your players. The pros, you really don't. You can still go through the draft and free agency and stuff, but they have more agency there. In college, if you're at Alabama, you can basically, here's the top 30 guys. I'm going to get 4 of them.
Yeah.
In the pros, you don't see that. The pros, you have to build more of a program. And in the pros, you can't have that college mentality because you can yell at a kid all you want, and the pros take away his playing time. And in college, it matters. In the college, it does. I mean, in the pros, it doesn't because the guy makes more money than you. He doesn't care.
But when you're looking at this situation, especially with coaches in the NFL, are more owners not pragmatic on purpose, or is it a case of, okay, look, let's face it, most NFL teams, vast majority of them, are family-owned businesses, okay? Al Davis was different. He was pragmatic. He hired who he thought would give him a chance to win. Didn't matter where they came from.
Mm-hmm.
Others, as they run their businesses, again, not excusing or saying it's right or wrong, I'm just making a statement. Others will hire those that they know and are close to them, and they're probably comfortable with. So if you grow up in a certain way, in a certain area, in a certain family, I mean, look at the Los Angeles Chargers. They might have a black head coach, but the entire front office and most of the team's leadership is family. It's the Spanos family.
Yep.
So does that mean that they're not giving opportunities to minorities to work in the front office of the Chargers? Or is it just because they're a family business, they're just giving it to their family?
Oh, it's everywhere. You see that with the Hunt family. And,
I'd say the Bidwells in Arizona. I mean,
right.
it's like,
across the board.
That's my point.
That's pretty standard operation, I feel like, in all sports. The Buss family was obviously prominent with the Lakers. The one thing we were talking about, go ahead. I'm sorry, I lost my train of thought.
Live on the air, you love it. But no, I think the point here though is that you're right. You have families, you have people who do it. I don't know that it's on purpose and forcing people to interview folks. I don't know that that's going to solve the problem if there's a problem. Yeah. And I would love to hear from people who tell me why it's a problem, because I'm open-minded. I want to listen. I mean, I'm coming at the perspective of it from a white guy that's 50 years old. So explain it to me is a little bit about what I'm trying to figure out. It's 702-733-5968, by the way. Call in and tell me. I would love to know, because I hear so much chatter about it, but I don't know, what's the core of the issue and how do we really fix it? Because the Rooney Rule is not going to fix it.
You mentioned earlier about, why don't people try it more? If it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. If it fails, it fails. But as an NFL owner who has 16 chances to make money, to make a playoff, make all this, you can't look at it. They don't look at it that way, which is why you see more. They stay with what they know because they don't want to reach out too far. They don't want to change things up, because the difference between going 5-11 in the NFL and 11-5, it's a lot of money. It's a lot of exposure.
Right.
That's right.
And like you said, a lot of this stuff's family business. Some of them are billionaires. Some of the people, that's what they have.
Well, we're not billionaires, but we have to pay some bills. So we're going to do that right now. We're going to step aside when we come back. Excuse me, I'm choked up. Silver and Black Today. Boy, we are a mess today. Silver and Black Today rolls on right after the break.
This is Silver and Black Today, live on CBS Sports Radio 1140.
Welcome back to the Silver and Black Today here on CBS Sports Radio 1140. Don't forget, visit the website, silverandblacktoday.com. You can get the latest news and views from Las Vegas. Las Vegas' independent Raiders news source. Not only that, but make sure you subscribe to this show. If you miss this show, you can go back on the radio.com app 24 hours and rewind it, which is awesome. Or you can also get it from our feed. Subscribe to our feed on iTunes, Google Play, also Stitcher, Spotify, SoundCloud, wherever you get your audio, we're there. Subscribe also to us on YouTube. We are live right now on YouTube. We can't talk today. We're having all kinds of issues, but what we are doing is we are streaming our show live on YouTube, which you can watch and come in the studio with us and see what we are doing during the breaks.
A lot of good conversation on here.
Yeah,
learning a lot about the background of the NBA and everything.
Oh boy, yeah, that's off.
That's off air.
That's off air stuff. Although I say that now, and now we're having all kinds of issues. Our streaming provider, the company that allows us to send multiple streams of video to different places, to Facebook, is having major issues today. And so I've been chatting with them in between breaks, and here I am talking about our live feed, and it goes out.
Yeah.
So, but we'll upload the show after the show if we
that
if we can't get it back on.
that one person we have that watches on Twitch is going to be very disappointed.
Yeah, the Twitch one, that is not a big channel for us. But anyway, all right, guys. So let's talk a little bit about something that people would rather drive, as I said earlier, pins into their eyes for some of them. For others, they're interested in the conversation, and that is about Tom Brady.
They're still talking about that.
Still talking about Tom Brady, and
we're getting numbers now, so it's getting serious.
Oh. Well, and here's the thing. Again, I don't understand. I get it. If you think it's the worst move ever and you hate Tom Brady, I'm cool with that. Like, I understand it, especially if you're a Raiders fan. Tuck rule. I call him Tommy Tuck rule. Okay, but the fact that the conversation is happening is not because the media is making it up. It's just not. Now, does the media have all the details? No. Does the media getting pieces of information? Larry Fitzgerald Sr., so
Right.
Larry Fitzgerald's father,
I saw that.
40 years in the media, 40 years in the NFL. He is a guy who is responsible, who doesn't report just baseless rumors like some other sites and all that. That's not what he does. He is a legitimate source. I know Raider fans hate Mike Florio, but Mike Florio reported this weekend 2 years, $60 million is the chatter. Now, of course, nobody's confirmed anything. The Raiders haven't squashed any of the rumors. That doesn't mean anything either. I think that's probably overplayed. But nonetheless, here's the thing. It's a real conversation until it's not. Until Tom Brady makes a decision and it's not Las Vegas, it's going to be an issue. So you have to either accept it or turn off your media, right?
Right. Either way, it's a good conversation.
Yeah, the 2 years and $60 million though just smells kind of fishy. Because the first number that was thrown out, what Brady wanted from the Patriots, was $30 million.
Right.
So it's like you start connecting the dots. But I mean, like I said, I think it was last week. Who knows? But of course, John Gruden would be interested in Tom Brady if he became available. I also said he would be interested in Drew Brees if Drew Brees becomes available.
Sure.
He would be interested in Pat Mahomes if Pat Mahomes became available. He would be interested in Aaron Rodgers. John Gruden's going to be interested in damn near every quarterback that comes.
Well, that's the point I made last week. Was, if there's 30 teams that are going to be interested in all these guys.
Yeah.
Right.
The Brady stuff, though, man, I mean, this is what Gruden does. He doesn't want a young guy. He doesn't want to draft a young guy and bring him in. He wants a veteran. He wants to win now. He's never developed a young quarterback.
Right.
That's the thing with the dynamic. That's why you have to have a strong general manager, a strong owner. I feel like, coaches, they fall in love with guys. And I totally agree. I want a quarterback with 6 rings and all that experience and maybe a little bit of gas left in the tank. I don't know. I feel like he's definitely on the decline. Carr, for me, would be a better option. But these head coaches, we've kind of determined that maybe they're not the best judge of talent. And so, I'm not going to bring up the Antonio Brown because that could have been, he could have blown up on anything. But in my experience over the years, coaches fall in love with guys because, they have to game plan against them and, they burn them a few times. They always see the guy that plays well against them. Well, here's the thing. They only play well against you. They don't play well against the rest of the other teams in the league. But for some reason, that coach just has it in the back of his mind, like, we have to have this guy. This guy's always, every time I see him, he's this and that. But, he doesn't see him all those other however many games that he doesn't play well. So I do feel like maybe John Gruden is kind of driving the driving force behind this, and he's in the ear. But hopefully, with I don't know how much say Mayock has, and it doesn't seem like Mark Davis says much. It does feel like John Gruden runs that whole organization over there, and if that's what he wants, then that's probably what's going to happen.
But I think that it's being driven by, in my view, Tom Brady. I think the numbers out there, whether or not he wants to come to Las Vegas or even considers it, doesn't really matter. But for him, the conversation around him, whether he wants to return to New England or go somewhere else, it benefits him to have these numbers and things like out there.
Sure.
Because it sets a bar, it sets a mark, does it not, Kelly?
I mean, it does. I don't think it's being driven by Brady for the pure and simple reason that he doesn't have to drive this. It was going to have legs on his. I know what you're saying, but this was going to. Anytime you've got a guy this celebrated who could be the best quarterback ever, that's going to drive himself. He's just kicking back, laughing at all this stuff at this point.
That's true,
because he knows what he wants to do. For the most part, he just doesn't know if he's going to be able to do it or not. He might say, "Hey, say he wants to stay with the Patriots." That's not his decision at this point. That's the Patriots' decision.
Yeah, and every indication we have, Kelly, is that that's not going to happen. But that can change very quickly because when you have Robert Kraft, the owner, who loves Tom Brady more than massage parlors.
He's not going anywhere.
Right. So that's the thing. And we've been pretty consistent in saying that we think he'll be back in New England. But the longer it goes on, until March 18th hits and actual stuff starts happening, we won't know. And the reality is just say, hey, I don't want it. I don't like it. That's cool. But to talk about it, we're going to keep talking about it because people want to hear it. And the number of views we get on our videos explains it, and the audio, too, shows that people do. All right, we're going to step aside for the top of the hour break. When we come back, we're going to be joined by Jesse Reed of Sportsnaut.com. He's going to talk about the NFL Combine and 6 guys you need to watch. You're listening to the Silver and Black Today here on CBS Sports Radio 1140.
We've got your Raiders covered.
Knock on wood if you're with me.
It's Silver and Black Today on CBS Sports Radio 1140. And now, here's your host, Scott Gobranson.
Welcome back to the Silver and Black Today here on CBS Sports Radio on this beautiful Sunday in Las Vegas, Nevada, the home and capital of Raider Nation. That's right.
Yes.
Myself, Chaz Osborne, Kelly Kreiner here with you, and we are talking Raider football as we do every week from 8 to 10. Make sure you check out the website, silverandblacktoday.com. Go subscribe on YouTube. We are broadcasting live. You can come in the studio and see our mugs, coffee and otherwise. But now we go out on the attorney Michael Troiano newsmaker line, and we bring in our good friend, and that is Jesse Reed. Jesse from Sportsnaut. If you haven't checked out Sportsnaut, I can't believe you haven't seen it because they cover so much and are pretty much everywhere. So we bring in now Jesse to talk about the NFL Combine. Jesse, how you doing this morning?
I'm feeling fantastic. How are you guys?
Fantastic.
Yep.
As George Carlin would say, I'm feeling moderately neato. But anyway, we move on. We're going to talk about football and the Combine in particular. And you wrote a piece this week up on Sportsnaut.com about the Combine and 6 prospects to dominate headlines. Now, some of these are, of course, are not going to be a surprise to people, but we want to jump in and kind of ask you your opinion on them and what you expect. So we're going to start with our guy, Kelly and I, very in tune with Joe Burrow because he also enjoys a nice cigar like we do. But Joe Burrow, you have listed number 1. I mean, he's going to be the number 1 overall pick. What are you expecting to see from him at the Combine? And is there any way this guy hurts himself?
The only thing I think that could hurt him is if somehow he comes across as a total a-hole during interviews. I honestly believe that because he has really nothing to prove as far as what he can do. You know, he put all of that on tape last year. I would be really surprised if he competes, does anything on the field, throwing. Heck, he might not even run. He did an interview after they won the championship saying basically he was going to probably party for a week, then hang out some more because he wouldn't have to do a whole lot at the Combine.
So he already had in his mind he wasn't going to do much.
Yeah, and honestly, he doesn't have to. We've seen that quarterbacks are not going to be hurt if they decide not to throw. He doesn't need to run the 40. Everybody can see that he can move. My thing is that he has a potential to even boost his stock without doing anything on the field by showing coaches what he can do on the board.
Yeah,
you know, he's going to be in for interviews. They're going to have him walk through a whole bunch of stuff. They're going to throw the book at him and see how he handles the mental aspect. And it seems to me, based on how he handled everything, you know, with interviews and just the way he handled the media, I would expect nothing but glowing reports. And I'll just be surprised if that doesn't happen.
Again, we're speaking to Jesse Reed of Sportsnaut.com. He's an editor, writer there as well. We're talking about the NFL Combine. We're reviewing a few players that Jesse says will be a focus at the Combine. And number 2 is a guy I think overall is the best player in the entire draft, and that is Chase Young, of course, the edge rusher out of Ohio State. This is a guy that everybody seems to like. What are we expecting from him? What do we need to see, if anything? I think this is the same case as Burrow. I think you kind of know what you're getting here. Mm-hmm. I don't know that he'll do much at the Combine, will he?
I think he probably will. If I were him, I would. I mean, he's a massive dude. He is coming into the league with the kind of physique and frame and production that is going to have everybody thinking he's going to be number 2 overall. But imagine if he comes out and all he has to do is run a 40, right? What if he comes out and he's like 4.5 or 4? The amount of hype that's going to come on him, the amount of desire for teams to land him is just going to be through the roof. Defenders typically do. They will go out there, they'll run, they'll jump, they'll do the movement drills to show off their explosion and agility, and I would expect him to do that. I haven't really read or heard anything otherwise, and I'm expecting him to put on a show like Jadeveon Clowney did. He's going to blow the hinges off this thing, is my opinion, and my expectation as well.
Hey, Jesse, it's Kelly here. I'm expecting Jerry Jeudy to be the number 1. He's my number 1 wide receiver. I've said before that he's the best route runner I've ever seen in college football. Do you think he's going to be able to kind of separate himself at the Combine from CeeDee Lamb and Ruggs, or do you think those other 2 guys have a chance to maybe even pull closer to him to where that number 1 wide receiver spot's still open?
I think that CeeDee Lamb will have to run really, really fast. He'll probably have to be faster than Jeudy to take that spot. The thing that Lamb has, of course, is just after the catch stuff it's legendary. He can do things after the catch that just blow your mind, and plus he has the size. But Jeudy, a lot of people expect him to run sub 4.3, and if he can do that, he'll probably be a top 5 pick. I would expect, and he's the kind of player that can add some serious juice to any offense. He put it on the film. He can take a short slant the distance. He can break loose down the field, and he's got that thing that you just can't teach, which you mentioned is his speed. In my article, I featured a little video going against a cornerback, an Ole Miss DB, Zedrick Woods, and Dane Brugler had said he ran a 4.29, and Jeudy just torched him.
Wow!
So if he can put that kind of speed on the field and runs a sub 4.3, there's nobody that's going to be like, oh yeah, I'll take somebody else instead of this guy.
Yeah. Again, we're speaking to Jesse Reed from Sportsnaut.com. He wrote his piece on the NFL Scouting Combine. You can find it on Sportsnaut.com. Now, the next guy you mentioned is a guy that I love, one of my favorite guys in the draft. I would love to see the Raiders get him. I don't see there's any possibility because I don't think he's going to fall to 12, if that. Also, I think at the Combine, I think he's going to be one of the stars. I just have the feeling. And that, of course, is Isaiah Simmons, the linebacker / safety. He's kind of a hybrid player, 6'5", 230 pounds about. This guy, not only can he play linebacker and rush the passer, but he can move sideline to sideline. Are you with me on that one? You think he's going to be he's going to blow up that Combine a little bit?
For sure. I mean, if you watch the championship game, he was really the only Clemson defender that showed out, and he was able to really, even though they got torched, he stood out, and everybody was like, oh my gosh, look at how this guy covers. And people that have been watching him all year already knew that. I would expect him to be top 5 in almost all the drills. He's a freak. He's a legitimate freak, and he's exactly the type of player that's going to fit the mold in modern defenses, which are totally stressed right now, trying to cover multiple speed guys. You look at what the Chiefs and the Ravens are doing, and the new era of quarterbacks, they're coupling those quarterbacks with guys that can fly, and you're going to need defenders that can fly, and this kid can do that. I have mocked him to the Raiders a few times because, it's a perfect fit. I mean, can you imagine him playing with Abram? And, that defense has the potential to just go boom. next year if they can land a playmaker of his ilk. A lot of people believe he'll be gone before then, like you said, but it wouldn't surprise me if the Raiders wanted to trade up into the top 10 to land him. He's just that good and fits in so perfectly.
Hey, Jesse, you mentioned in the article about Laviska Shenault, who's one of my favorite players in this draft. They're saying he's not going to need groin surgery, yet I've heard from some people I know in the league that they are already planning on him failing his medical at the combine for their team. It's not the whole not the whole combine medical, but for what they specifically are looking for, they're kind of expecting him to not pass their physical and get red flagged for the draft. Have you heard anything else about this, or are they still going with it's just a rest thing and he just needs time off?
I haven't heard otherwise. I think the last major report was from Adam Schefter, ESPN, saying that he wouldn't need the surgery, that he should be good to go. But if he does fail the medicals, even for one or two teams, it's going to be negative for him. His big red flag coming out of Colorado is that he's struggled to stay healthy. He has the potential to become a superstar in the NFL because he can do so many things so well. I mentioned the comparison sort of to Deebo Samuel in my article because the way that the 49ers used him wasn't just as a receiver. He did a lot of running. He was explosive in that role. And in the right team, you can envision Shenault becoming absolutely, dynamic. But if the injury is still significant, if he does fail, I would expect him to drop into the second round at least, which would be a real bummer. He's just one of those guys he's got all the potential in the world, but when it comes to the investment teams have to make, you don't want somebody that's going to be in the trainer's room half the time. And that's the one thing that I would be concerned about.
Yeah, no, that's going to be interesting. All right, well, Jesse Reed from Sportsnaut.com, thanks, man. The Combine's going to be fun. We'll get you again after the Combine to get your thoughts on some of these guys and others who might have kind of poked their heads out and said, hey, look at me, it's time to move up in the draft. Jesse, thanks again, buddy.
My pleasure. It was real fun, guys, and you have a great day.
All right. Jesse Reed from Sportsnaut.com. Go check out his work. He's prolific on that. But, guys, I think this Combine is going to be fun. We're going to start getting into the Combine in the next few weeks as we roll into it. But at the same time, there's a lot of needs there. And Kelly's going to do in the future a Combine primer because there's some stuff people should not pay attention to. Right, Kelly?
Yeah, the drills and stuff they have, everybody does the same thing across the board. For a lot of positions, they're kind of meaningless. Mm-hmm. And then for certain players, they're meaningless. And I think the biggest example of that's when everybody was killing DK Metcalf for his 3-cone last year. And he falls into the second round of the draft, and then everyone's like, oh, wait, this guy's really good at football.
Yeah, just a little bit, right? And he proved himself with the Seahawks this year.
Al Davis used to do that. Al Davis would sacrifice football skill for an extra tenth of a second in the 40.
He would.
I won a lot of money betting that Darius Hayward-Bay would be the Raiders draft pick the year he was. The second the 4.27 came across the board, it's like, that's a done deal.
Yep. All right, we're going to step aside for a break. When we come back, we'll talk a little bit more about players that the Raiders might have some interest in coming up at the Combine, but also in free agency, too. There's a lot of free agent talk out there. Should the Raiders go get a free agent wide receiver, or should they just go young? We'll talk about that here on the Silver and Black Today on CBS Sports Radio, 1140.
How you doing? This is Charlie Garner, and you're listening to Silver and Black Today. Stay tuned.
Stay tuned indeed. It's time. Thank you, Charlie Garner, bringing us back in from the top of the hour break. That's right. We are, quarter hour break. We are in hour number 2 of what has been a mealy-mouthed mess in some ways. The show. Blah, 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 blah. But anyway, we appreciate you guys being with us.
Hey, let's circle back. I want to ask you guys about, what Jesse said about Joe Burrow. And after he won, he said he's going to go party for a week. And does that raise a red flag to you guys? Is like maybe this guy...
Wait a minute. A college kid's going to go party?
Well,
wait a minute. Call the New York Times.
0.
You know what I mean?
But, no, so you're
because
talking...
I used to do a lot of interviews, and you kind of want to hear all the right things out of the guys. Like, I'm going to work hard. I want to do this. I want to do that. When you hear a guy say, I'm just going to go party,
Here's the thing. When you hear the guy say, oh, I'm going to go work hard, I'm going to do this, and you know it's disingenuous, that just drops him that much more. Here's the thing with Joe Burrow. He knows he has nothing to prove. He knows he's the number one pick. Right. Everyone knows it. I don't care what he says at this point, because I know when it comes down to the season, you don't take a kid who hardly got any interest in college. They had a dozen quarterbacks that said, we're better than you at Ohio State. You need to go somewhere else.
Right.
And then just dominates the SEC and wins a championship. I'm not worried about him working.
Okay, but how are you projecting him out? He's going to be a top-tier quarterback?
Oh, yeah.
If Tua was healthy, I would have Tua over Burrow in this draft.
Mm-hmm. I'm talking about projecting him 5, 8, 10 years from now. Is he going to be a top-tier quarterback? Is he going to be known as a hardworking, physical?
No, yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's the last thing I'm worried about with him is any of that.
But let me ask you this. It's a good question, Chaz. Let me ask you, as a former NBA scout, when you did those interviews, how often did a kid say, I'm doing this, and they were completely lying? And how often were they honest with you? And you said, okay, well, yeah, the kid admits, he does this occasionally, he does that occasionally.
And, we ask him goofy questions like, he's got his earphones on. What are you listening to? You listening to Drake or Jay-Z? And he'd be like, no, I listen to classical music. You just get all these different, and it's kind of like, where is it coming from? But where is it leading him? And that's probably the thing that every scout and every general manager and every organization is trying to figure out, where are these thought processes, where are these patterns leading this player? Where's he going to be? Because, talent across the board is to hear, but it's what's between the ears. Kobe Bryant, rest in peace. Nobody has that work ethic. You just don't find that. I saw an interview with Tiger Woods yesterday, and he was talking to Curtis Strange, and this is like in '96, and he was just a young kid. And Curtis Strange is like, oh, so what do you expect? He goes, I expect to win every. I'm not going to go to a tournament if I'm not going to win.
Right.
And Curtis Strange is like, you're not second place, third place. He goes, second place is. How am I going to explain that to my dad? Third place, I don't even have that thought. And Curtis Strange looks at him and he goes, oh, well, you'll learn. And Tiger Woods looks, and this is like a 17-year-old kid looking at like a 40-year-old guy, like, what are you talking about? Like, why don't you have that mentality? And it's hard when you're interviewing guys to find out, to know if that's the mentality they have, or do they just want to get paid and go be big ballers and be cool in front of their friends?
So you think Ricky Bobby's the most prepared athlete of all time?
Come on.
Because if you ain't first, you're last.
Exactly.
No, I know. No, I get what you're saying. And in this situation, there's no red flag because you see the growth he had in this 1 year.
Of course.
It was ridiculous.
Yeah.
You don't get that by just having an offensive coordinator.
And I'm all for letting off some steam after you put in all this hard work for the last 8 months doing what you did. You definitely deserve a week to go party or more.
Yeah.
But is he thinking now, okay, well, I'm going to be the number one pick, I'm going to get paid, I'm just going to go cruise, or is he going to put his nose to the grindstone and get it done?
I tell you what, I'll take Joe Burrow. You can have every other quarterback in this class.
Okay.
And I'm happy with what
that's
I have.
That's what I'm saying. That's as you putting on your general manager hat. What do you you know what I mean?
What kind of hat is that, by the way? General manager hat. Hey ho. So, but it's no. I think with Joe Burrow too. You look at, like you, I'm sure did too, Chaz. When you were looking at players, you look at his family, you look at his background, you look at the history of what he did, how
talk to teammates,
and how he's handled adversity, how he handled the situation at Ohio State before he transferred was amazing. Compared to some of those other guys who transferred out, like Tate Martell, who was just a big brat and continued to have problems. Now he's down in Miami.
And usually where there's smoke, there's fire.
Right.
And the media can create this, guy, put him on a pedestal, he's the greatest thing ever, or they can create, the media really does dictate a lot of how people are perceived.
Well, it does, but so do your actions. I mean, the actions speak louder. I think there's some guys, I see some people in our Facebook chat comparing Burrow to Johnny Manziel. I'm like,
that's what
really?
I'm saying.
But that's not even close.
That's absolutely ridiculous because we don't have all these pictures and stuff of Joe Burrow out partying and stuff before and after games. We don't have all these stories coming about all the
Baker
crap
Mayfield, who had another Snapchat story this week.
Well, not only that, we also don't have video of Baker Mayfield getting tackled by a cop when he tried to run off, which in my opinion, if you can't outrun a cop, you're not going to outrun a linebacker.
Exactly. Well, when I was posing this question to you, Manziel was the person I was thinking of.
And that's the thing. We've heard zero about Burrow. The only thing we have is, like you said, the one comment, after the championship game, I'm going to take time to celebrate this.
Which I
I
feel like you totally deserve that.
That's the only thing that popped up. We had so much stuff that said Johnny Manziel was
red
going
flag
to fail.
here, red flag there.
Use the one of the most egregious examples in history and overlooking all of the red flags for the Raiders, and that was Jamarcus Russell, right? You had everything in front of you, right? And you were talking about a story that one of the other GMs told Matt Millen, right?
No, Matt Millen was telling the story.
Oh, Matt Millen was telling the story. Tell people that story about Jamarcus Russell, the Lions, Calvin Johnson, and all that.
That year, Raiders got the first pick, Lions got the second pick. Jamarcus Russell comes in, top quarterback prospect, so every team's going to be doing their interviews and everything. And Matt Millen's got him in the office, and he's sitting there. He goes, after about 5 minutes of talking to him, he goes, no, it's Jamarcus Russell, looks at his watch. Millen's kind of like, well, what's this kid doing? I was like, whatever. A few minutes later, he does it again. Finally, Matt Millen's like, hey, kid, you got somewhere to be? He's like, oh, no, I'm fine. So at that point, Matt Millen's like, all right, hey, we're done here. So he knew Al Davis was interested in him. So Matt Millen actually calls Al Davis and is like, listen, you cannot draft this kid. This kid's, he's just not there, just doesn't care about this. Do not draft this guy. You cannot do this. And the Lions wanted Calvin Johnson bad. That was their number one guy. And he knew if Jamarcus Russell didn't go one, Calvin would go one. But Matt Millen had so much respect for Al Davis, he was going to put that aside just so he could be like, listen, you can't do this, you can't do this. And the Raiders end up,
Which is probably the reason he did do it. No.
No, really, though.
Like
Al
said,
was suspicious of everybody.
Right.
Right.
Like Matt Millen said, he goes, they were completely fine because if we lost Calvin Johnson, we were getting Adrian Peterson.
Right.
So he's like, they were okay with it.
Either way.
Yeah, but you talk about the red flags, but then on the other side of it, you're looking at Jamarcus Russell as such a specimen.
Well, but he had one good game in his college career, and it was against a crap Notre Dame team in a bowl game.
Right. It's hard to do, and that's
like,
why you have to have a strong support, top to bottom, ownership, general manager, all the way down.
Todd McShay says his workout's still the best quarterback workout he's ever seen. I'm like, that's cool, but did you watch him play football?
Right. And that's the thing with Burrow. We've seen all the way through. That team beat arguably 7 top 10. And probably the greatest season of a college football team ever.
They didn't beat people; they destroyed people too. That's the thing. It's like it's one thing to go through a season. Oh man, they had some good tough wins. If this play goes this way, this play goes that way. They were just manhandling people, and he was making it look so easy.
Right.
And that's the thing. When you watch the tape, you just watch what he can do at the line of scrimmage, just mentally processing everything.
Right.
It's just like I said. Last year, if he comes out in the draft, he's a 5th rounder. Now he's easily the number 1 pick.
Right.
I mean, that much growth, you don't see it that often. And I don't care how much you want to attribute to the new system and stuff he was in. Yeah, he's got amazing wide receivers. But you know what? The quarterback still has to get the ball to those guys.
That's right.
Yeah.
And what Burrow did this year, a PFF had him as the highest graded season they've ever had.
Yeah.
Well, and that to me is, the combine is fascinating because I think for a lot of fans, some of it, and Kelly, we're going to, in the coming weeks, we're going to get into it, right? We're going to have you explain a little bit about these drills and what they mean and why they do them. Some are pretty meaningless. A lot of them are meaningless.
Almost all of them are meaningless,
right.
Let's be
honest.
But
there's some, the 40 times and all that, everybody knows that. But I think people, you talked about the 3-cone, right, with Metcalf last year. So we'll talk about that a little bit and put it into perspective, as well as highlighting some guys that the Raiders might be interested in and who you might want to watch if you're a Raider fan, based on Mayock's history, based on Gruden's history, and based on the need the team has, right?
Yeah.
So we'll do that over the next few weeks as we address it. But did you guys hear about this Tom Brady thing?
Cut it out. Cut the commercial.
I'm just kidding. All right.
I hear he bought a house.
Yeah, he bought a house
right
somewhere.
On the other side of Gruden.
Did you know?
On the other side of Gruden.
Did you guys know that rich people acquire property? That's how you maintain wealth in this country. Yeah.
Just a little bit.
Shocking.
A little bit.
But I mean, like I mentioned in that article that I wrote, though, man, it's like everybody's acting like this would be the craziest thing ever. It's not that far fetched that you'd want to play for the Raiders.
No. And you know what? I did see photos of my almost new neighbor, John Gruden. at his house, the estate, as they call it, as they were building it.
Almost new neighbors. Yeah, we all live in Las Vegas.
I'm a mile and a quarter away from him. Come on.
That's a big mile.
I'm close.
That's a big mile and many a fence away, brother.
Yeah. Yes, a golf club away, too. All right, we're going to step aside when we come back. Oh, it's time. It's time for Breakfast with Kelly. It's Kelly's Corner.
Yes.
Coming up next here on CBS Sports Radio 1140 and Silver and Black Today. Don't forget, silverandblacktoday.com. Go like our YouTube channel. Subscribe to it. Make sure you watch us. You can come inside. I'm saying hi. We're waving. Everybody wave. We're waving. We're waving to you now on camera. Come check it out and the chat with other Raider fans. You're listening to the Silver and Black Today here on CBS Sports Radio 1140.
CBS Sports Radio.
You found the most in-depth coverage of the Silver and Black. This is Silver and Black Today, live on CBS Sports Radio 1140. Here's your host, Scott Gobranson.
Welcome back, Raider Nation, to Silver and Black Today here on CBS Sports Radio 1140. We are churning along, getting ready for what will be an interesting rest of your February and into March. The new year is just about a month away, the new NFL year, that is. So we'll see what the Raiders are doing. We're all talking about things they could do, but in reality, what they do in reality, what
you were
going to
say
do. Yeah.
I knew it.
Oh, well. So when we do, that's the problem. See, dude, that's it. 98 weeks in a row, and you just start like smoking helium.
We need a vacation.
Smoking helium, get it?
Oh.
Anyway, so we are going to now turn over the show to one of our listeners' favorite subjects, and I love this because I get to just sit there in the YouTube chat, which is going crazy as usual. The YouTube chat and listen to the reaction to what we like to call Kelly's Corner, Mr. Kelly Kreiner.
I'm getting ready to do something that I never thought I would ever do. This is just
compliment somebody?
This is just blowing my mind right now. I am going to compliment soccer.
What?
Whoa.
Yes.
See, that's something I wouldn't do.
Or football, as I've been told a million times.
I refuse.
It's called everywhere
In
else.
this country, it's called soccer. And yes,
I agree with that, too. But yeah, any sport where your players flop around like dead fish whenever somebody walks by, not really something I'm into. Any sport that ends in a tie as often as this sport does, not my thing. You know, it's just, I can't get into it. I never played it as a kid. It's not my thing. But today I've got to stand up and say, wow, congratulations, soccer. You just showed why Major League Baseball is the most spineless, gutless, weakest organization on the planet.
Whoa! Hey!
Yeah. Hey, did you guys know the Astros cheated to win a World Series?
No, I had no idea.
Yeah, the Astros cheated. The Astros got caught cheating, and Major League Baseball did not do a dang thing about it. They're sitting there tucking their tail between their legs because that spineless organization knows that the players' union will destroy them in anything they do. You know? Now, I know everybody's going to be thinking, hey, I'm the proponent of cheat as much as you can, cheat as hard as you can, because nobody's going to do anything about it. Well, if you're some of our European listeners, you may not want to take that advice, because what UEFA just did to Man City is mind-blowing.
Yeah.
Not only did they... And basically what this broke down to was they have a fair play rule to where you can't spend more money than your team makes. They're trying to make sure teams don't get in wild debt and try to keep everything. So, I mean, it makes sense financially.
Yeah, it's not like a salary cap. But
yeah. It's like if your team makes $50 billion one year, you can spend $50 billion. So it's like you can still do that. They just want to make sure their teams are viable, unlike a lot of teams in the U.S. where – you spend wildly. Next thing you know, all 5 of those players are gone. Major League Baseball, the Marlins.
Yeah.
Another gutless problem they have there. So Man City was cooking their books so they could spend more money. UEFA looks into this, catches them. They fined him 25 million pounds. Or no, wait, it was 30 million pounds, just about $33 million. Mm-hmm. That's nothing that's a speck on a balance sheet for these guys.
For Manchester, yeah.
What they did do was they banned them from Championship League play for 2 years.
Wow.
Huge.
That's $100 million minimum they're losing out on per year for being out of the league. Plus, you think the players are going to stay?
No.
You think they're going to try to leave? You think the coaches are going to leave? That is unreal. This is the 5th highest valued franchise in the Champions League. And let's be honest, the Champions League worldwide is like putting the NBA, NFL, and Major League Baseball together. The Champions League is a monster. That is the pinnacle of team sports, if you're asking me, and I think soccer's a terrible sport. The fact that you could just basically tell a team, and it doesn't affect them this year. It's going into for the next 2 years. But could you imagine going up to the Knicks or the Clippers and being like,
you're in the D League.
You know what you're doing? Exactly.
You're in the D League.
You're a AAA team. You're a D League team for 2 years.
But Kelly, so that's the thing too. And as we're on the air, I think Manfred's having his press conference. He did a interview with ESPN with Ravitch earlier, and really didn't say much except for what you said, which is we can't suspend these guys. We can't really do anything because the labor union will step in. So I get that piece of it. But what they could do, and now they can't retro unless new evidence comes up. The die was already cast. So they can't go back and fix what was the biggest cluster in American sports in recent memory for not taking care of the problem and the root of the problem. So to me, the Astros, and sorry Astros fans, you can't strip they're not going to strip the title, but what they could do is what you saw with soccer, which is, hey, you know what? You can't go to the postseason. Can't go to the postseason. What does that do? Players leave. Right now they're under contract and they can't leave, but you're not going to get free agents. You're not going to be able to improve. So I don't know what the answer is with baseball. All I know is baseball continues to just step over a cliff anytime it can. Yep. And this is another good example because after all this cheating, and you got Correa come out yesterday calling on Cody Bellinger and explaining step by step, people calling it brilliant how he explained, no, you still would have lost. It doesn't matter. You cheated.
Yeah,
it doesn't matter if you would have won that game or not.
I like how everybody's like, well, it didn't affect the game. Yeah, it did, or you wouldn't have done it, morons.
And how did you get there?
You don't cheat because it doesn't do anything.
Exactly. And that's what their owner made the mistake,
for
too.
A purpose. And that's the other thing. If I'm the Astros, shut your mouth.
Exactly.
Because you can dig a hole to a certain point, no matter how hard you try. The hole gets bigger.
Yeah.
And the more you open your mouth, the dumber stuff you come up with. Like, Correa, you really need to shut up. Because that thing about the tattoo on Altuve, that's the dumbest thing I've ever heard.
You notice
I was
Altuve,
a bartender for 20 years.
Altuve's not at practice because he's out trying to get a tattoo right now to cover up that story.
Listen, you guys cheated. You won. You got away with it. Congratulations. Shut up.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. No, but that's the point, though.
Yeah.
And we're talking about football on this show mostly, but this, to your point, Kelly, and you've talked about this now a couple of times in your Kelly's Corner because it's so important, because your point, and I remember the first time you said it to me and I kind of chuckled, but every day it makes more sense, and that is they cheat because it works and it pays off and the penalties are nil.
Mm-hmm.
I used a soccer term, you get that?
So,
except for, now you talked about Manchester,
except for this one.
Except for that one.
But here's
but
the
good
thing.
for them.
This is going to go to court. They're going to do appeals. This may not stick either.
Right, it might
but
not.
It's just the fact that a league was going to look at their fifth, like they said, the fifth highest valuation. They're like, you guys cheated. Here's what happens when you cheat. You know what's not going to happen again? That.
Right. But here's the thing. And guys, you tell me what you think, though. I understand Manfred is a labor attorney himself. So if anybody understands what it's like going against a labor union, especially the strongest
suit.
Yes, but against the strongest union in sports, which is Major League Baseball's Players Association.
It's the strongest union, period.
Yeah, it's incredible if you look at the details. But here's the point. When he said that on ESPN this morning, and I'm sure he's saying it in his ridiculous press conference today, you basically have said that, okay, we don't control the game anymore. We don't have any control over the game or the integrity of the game anymore. Mm-hmm. That now lies with the Players Association. They get to decide, because they can threaten us and they can stop us from doing this and doing that. Then what kind of crappy deal did you make? And who made it? I don't know which commissioner made it. But the point is that you now are killing your sport. And so those players, for those, I don't know if we have any players listening, but if I was in that union, how long are you going to have a union if you don't have baseball? If baseball starts to die off, which it's had pretty good numbers, but still, if it starts to die off and you kill your sport, good luck with that union, because you're not going to be making squat.
Nothing. Yeah, but the thing is, people are still going to watch. Nothing's going to change, and everybody knows it. That's the crux of this whole position. But
not kids.
Until
kids might. Now, I don't know that this matters to kids, but if dad or mom is not watching baseball, and I do think some people will tune out.
If dad or mom are a baseball fan, they're not going to stop watching.
Correct.
Right.
That is correct.
But if you have choices, you're not going to go in that direction, But they were just coming back from the steroid era, right? They finally started seeing positive numbers the last few years.
Well, baseball's nationwide stuff's always going to just keep going down, but it's all local, because baseball's a local sport. If it's not Yankees, Red Sox, Cubs, or now Dodgers when they're good, nobody else matters outside of local markets, and Major League Baseball knows that.
But, when you start messing with the integrity of the game, like this is going to have a huge effect on that. That's really going to draw people away.
Well, this does, and I would argue what they need, you ready for this? They need another steroid era. No,
bringing people.
The steroid era, it saved baseball.
I mean,
it saved baseball.
I wanted to see Sammy Sosa cranking him out with Mark McGwire.
It saved baseball, and I think this one is far worse than the steroid issue.
Big time.
The steroid issue is an individual performance. Yes, it's cheating. There's no question, although there was no rule.
Well, that's the whole thing.
There was no rule.
Technically, it's not cheating.
Because there's not a rule.
Yeah, it wasn't cheating. It wasn't illegal baseball-wise. It's just illegal, real-wise.
Because there was kind of gamesmanship.
There was an actual law against this
But
stuff.
it's cheating from the perspective of, as an individual, it gives you an edge that is not natural, okay? It's not through hard work. It's not through strategy. From that perspective. But at the same time, again, I'm saying it was the best thing that happened to baseball because baseball was really in trouble. Had it not been for the steroid era, it wouldn't be where it is now. But this is far worse because it goes to the integrity of playing the game, which is completely different. And none of these guys got punished. A general manager lost their job. These other guys are out there spouting the crap that they're spouting like a bunch of idiots. And the Astros need to clean house. Everybody in that organization should be gone because whoever's running communications, if they're allowed to run it, it might be the owner. Who knows at this point because it's so ridiculous. They are just continuing foot, mouth.
Right.
And here's the thing. If you're going to lie, come up with a good one. Take the time to craft a story that sounds...
They're not on message, that's for sure.
Yeah. I mean, it's like, just come up with something that sounds legitimate.
Yeah.
Going up there and just free throwing this stuff out. I was like, oh, no, I got this. I got this. No problem. I'm good in front of the media. I mean, this is literally some of the dumbest crap that I've ever heard come out because we know you cheated. You've admitted to cheating.
Right.
And now it's not even like you're denying it anymore. It's like you've admitted that you did this. And now you're
hold your thought, though, because we're going to continue. I like this. The chat's going crazy, too. People agreeing with us, although there's people who like soccer a lot. But we're going to step aside when we come back.
I get that. It's just not my thing.
Not my thing either.
Hey, how about you fix it to where your game doesn't end in a tie 9 times out? When you have a tie option to gamble on, your sport ties too much.
Well, you look at it from a gambling. I look at it from an American psyche.
I look at it as entertainment.
No, an American psyche thing, and I'll talk to you about that in a second.
2 hours to watch something.
You are listening you're listening to Kelly Spout, but you're also listening to the Silver and Black Today here on CBS Sports Radio 1140.
This is Silver and Black Today, live on CBS Sports Radio 1140.
Live and audio around the country on the radio.com app. If you don't have the radio.com app, download it now. You can listen not only to our show, all the other shows here on Sports Radio 1140, like the Playmakers, Monday through Friday, 3 to 6 p.m. Paul Ihender, Lindsey Brown. Make sure you listen to that, especially if you like some hockey talk. Lindsey's a former college hockey player. She knows her stuff. They spent a lot of time on the Raiders this week. I actually spent some time with them a couple days ago to talk about the Raiders, so make sure you check that out. Also, subscribe to our show. You can subscribe to feeds in iTunes, Google Play, SoundCloud, Stitcher, Spotify, wherever you listen to your audio. And hit up YouTube, like the channel, subscribe, and hit the notifications bell so you never miss a live simulcast like this or other videos, our drone videos, our stadium video, tour video. We have another drone video coming up this week, so make sure you check that out. All right, back we are with Chaz Osborne and Kelly Kreiner.
Do you have a video of John Gruden, your neighbor's house?
My neighbor's house? I do. I'm going to send the drone over and get a picture of his house. I can do that.
Does your drone have that much distant range?
What do you mean? I go over the stadium, dude. It can go 2.5 miles.
Oh,
Okay, so it barely covers.
It won't get to his neighbor's house.
Guys, just jealous. You're just jealous. That's all.
The good security guards at Gruden's place will shoot that down.
Yep.
Yeah. Thanks. Anyway, we're back and we're talking Raider football. We're also I want to finish the conversation about Major League Baseball and cheating because it's happened in the NFL too. Not as egregious. The Patriots Deflategate, the filming of their stuff. To Kelly's point, cheating pays. But I think with this one,
first rule.
To your point, though, we've seen egregious things happen in the NFL, and people always come back and watch. What do you think, Kelly? Honestly, what do you think? What do you think the outcome of this is going to be from a fan perspective? How is Major League Baseball going to feel this, or will they at all?
They won't. I don't think they will at all. The Astros are going to feel it because every single one of them is going to get hit every other game.
That's true. Yeah,
Dusty Baker's already came out and said
Bob Gibson justice.
Major League Baseball should do something about this. If I'm like, yeah, your boys are you're cheated. You got caught. Your boys are eating it. Right. You know what? Altuve, Correa, Reddick, get you some nice Barry Bonds shoulder armor because you're just going to be taking them in the back and in the hip all year.
Yep.
And I have zero problem with that at all. If you want to, hit them off and hit them hard.
But then, but baseball knowing that, are they going to proactively say, "Hey, don't do it"?
Good luck.
Yeah, of course. They're going to say it, but that doesn't mean it's going to stop them.
Good luck. What are you going to do? Suspend a pitcher for 4 games?
No,
he misses 0 starts.
Right.
No, what you do is you start like a reserve outfielder as pitcher and just plunk them, and the guy gets put out and whatever. But it's going to be interesting because I do think that people are going to be angry about it for a long time, and for the Astros, yeah. I mean. You can't. I see Astros fans, and I understand it. If you're a fan of the team, it's not your fault. Like, you didn't cheat, right? You follow a team, you have season tickets, you have all that stuff. But defending it is what I have a problem with. I don't care who your team is. If you're defending the Astros in any way, you're completely wrong. You cannot convince me otherwise.
And that's what sounded bad with the owner when he said, "Oh well, we still would have won." You can't defend it. You have to get out in front of it, apologize for it, say you're going to try and do everything possible, which he kind of sort of did. But
no, here's the thing: you don't say anything, you shut your mouth,
right?
Because that's like they need to say something. No, they don't. They don't have to say a word. Be like, you know what? Major League Baseball did what they did. That's what we're dealing with.
Yeah, but it's just like when I always tell, and one of our great sponsors here, attorney Michael Troiano, if you have an issue with criminal defense, simple DUI, whatever it may be, go see him, TroianoVegas.com. But I always talk to him about it because, look, when you talk to a lawyer, I don't care if you did nothing wrong. If a cop wants to speak to you, especially if they want you to come in and talk to him, you don't say anything without a lawyer. Like, you just don't, you shut up. It doesn't mean you're guilty. It just means you're smart. And I think in this case, it's the same thing with the Astros. Just shut up. Shut up, get past it, whatever you got to do, admit it. But the problem is, there's no really admitting what they did. And the other thing, too, I think the hidden gem here is there's more of a problem in Major League Baseball with all of this, with other teams, too. And Major League Baseball does not want to open Pandora's box. And that's part of the reason why they're trying to just make it go away.
But that's the problem because they've got the Red Sox with the same thing. They're still doing the Red Sox investigation, which doesn't matter because they've already set the precedent of, well, we're not going to do anything. We can't do something to Boston, and we didn't do it to the Astros.
Well, especially since Boston has favored nation status in MLB. I don't care what you say because it's a big media market.
And they should because they drive baseball ratings.
Them and the Yankees. I mean, this just is what it is, right?
Yeah, but yeah, they've already set the precedent. If you get caught doing this, we're not going to do crap about it, so you should do it.
Right, but
if I'm a major league team, I'm not even hiding it at this point.
Yes.
I mean as blatant as I can about this. You know why? Because you're not going to get in trouble for it.
Well, yeah, exactly. And so, and with these deals they cut for immunity and all this stuff. But anyway, all right. Well, that's probably the biggest amount of baseball you'll ever hear on this show. But we'll see what happens. And soccer, yes. Yeah. But as we wrap up the show, guys, it's going to be an interesting next month or so with what happens leading into the combine, and then, of course, going into the draft. We'll be here and talking about it. So we'd love to hear it. Also, drop us comments. Tell us what you want to hear on the show. We'd love to hear from you. We try to bring you different stuff during the summer as well, authors, things like that. And we have some of those guests that are queued up as well. So we get a little more general when there isn't as much Raiders news. but we also explore Raiders history and all that too. So we thank you. And that's what we wanted to do with the Al Davis stuff today. So we appreciate you guys listening. Chaz, have a good week, man.
Yeah. Raider Nation, great to be here.
Kelly,
I'm all
I hope
for
the
it.
headache goes away. I'm sure this show made the headache worse.
Oh, yeah.
It is what it is. At least I don't have to listen to the show.
Thanks, Kelly. I appreciate that. All right, for Kelly Kreiner, for Chaz Osborne, a reminder, the Tuesday night show, Silver and Black Tonight, is on hiatus for the season, so we will come back at the beginning of the football season. So don't look for us on Tuesday night. You can still get this show. We might do some special programming, some podcasts, some live videos coming up pretty soon as well, so stay tuned for that. We'll have another drone video up very shortly over the stadium to show you that completed roof cable, cable system, so make sure you check that out. Also, silverandblacktoday.com, the YouTube channel, as I mentioned. Go subscribe, hit notifications so you don't miss any of our videos. Also, check out, we have some cool shirts up now. You can buy some shirts with our store there. I'll tweet that out a little bit later. But you can get some Raiders shirts. You can get the Death Star shirt that we have up there, as well as the Silver and Black Today show. So, for our engineer, Trent Ogle, appreciate his work behind the glass, as always. Keeps us on track and on time. Chaz Osborne, Kelly Kreiner, I am Scott Branson. Until next time, may the autumn wind always be at your back. Take care, everybody.